don't know if I should tell you this. I did not have very serious long-term relationships with either of these people.
That's okay. That's good because I'm not going to say nice things. Because like this one here.
Okay.
Rip him apart, Michaela. Hi guys. I always say okay. Like we're rolling. You didn't even wait. We're all juiced up.
I can feel it.
You guys, this episode today, oh my God, we just did the interview.
Actually, welcome back to another episode.
We're all fucked up.
I'm fucked up.
We got our auras read and we read guys we've dated. It's coming in hot.
Speaking of vibes.
Holy shit.
Okay. We have an episode for you guys today.
Look.
I got to give you credit.
It's about us. No, it's our listeners get the credit on this one.
Well, I have to pass credit to you because we have a medium. She's a psychic medium or a reader.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if I believe in this stuff. And so I glance over it. And you were like, we got to have this girl. And I guess our listeners recommended her to us.
Yeah, we got a lot of requests for Mystic Michaela. She is a celebrity aura reader. And a lot of you guys just DM'd and you've emailed us. And obviously we got in contact with her and we just had, she's a full-blown psychic. I mean, the stuff that she was saying about not only us, but that we like just, we'll get to it, but we sent her photos of our exes and guys we've dated. And like every single word was spot on.
Shocking.
No time to prep.
So we sent her photos of our exes, no contacts, no Instagram accounts, no names. We didn't even say how long we dated these people. We cropped out their handles, no information.
Yeah.
5 minutes before the episode we started recording with her, she could not have researched this.
Yeah, it was wild. And all of it is really great. You guys can figure out what your aura is and how it relates to your sex life and who great matches for you would be in terms of their aura color. It's just a really great episode. So can't hype it enough. We just came off that interview, so we're like all juiced up from it.
Every time you say juiced up. Okay. I have a juiced up update, but okay. Housekeeping, live show update, guys. This is also on our website if you need like a little refresher at girlsgetypodcast.com, but live shows, obviously, all live shows are canceled through 2020 just because of the CDC and we can't have public gatherings this large. You know that our number one thing in life that we love is to perform for you guys and laugh with you and just see you smile. So it's very hard for us, but with a heavy heart, we have canceled all of our shows through 2020. All of those shows we are working to move to 2021. We'll get you updates on, the venues are not changing, but we're going to get you updates on every single city we were supposed to be in. Every venue has a little bit of a different protocol for refunds, when you can get them, how long the window to get them is. My assumption and how it's been before is that most tickets transfer to the new date once we have a new date, and then you'll have a window for refund, usually 30 days. But every venue is totally different, so please call them, contact them for information.
Yeah, and again, like they're just postponed, nothing is canceled. So if you were going to come see us in Florida or Texas or San Francisco or wherever, you will just be seeing us next year. This is like, I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience even announcing this. Like it is so devastating. Like we never thought this would happen. I mean, this is not a hot take. Like we thought we were just canceling Texas, maybe Florida. We were like, never in our wildest dreams will we have to push back Philly. And that was in April. And it's just like, we had this sickening feeling that like literally 2020 was going to be canceled. And like, this is what every single performer is doing. Like we would be there if we could be there. We don't really need to tell you guys this. You get it. Nobody's, there's not even going to be music festivals till 2022 at this point. Like it's just so upsetting and it is what it is, but man, we are bummed.
Yeah. And if you guys have never been to a live show, they are the most over the top fun girls night. Ashley and I love it. We travel together all the time to do these. We have dancers. It's the most special thing I've ever done in my life. And I miss hearing you guys laugh. And it really makes me feel really connected to you guys. So I can't wait to do it again. And, obviously we never thought we'd be here, but your safety comes first. Honestly, we would risk our own safety if we could. If we were allowed, we'd be on a stage tomorrow. We do not care.
But we are going to try to recreate it for you guys virtually. Our next virtual stupid, I literally don't care live show is Wednesday, September 2nd. The summer's not over, bitches. If your summer sucked, we're going to turn it around for you. It's going to be so fun. We are doing this where we are going to do tickets. They're cheap. A portion of proceeds is going to go to Black Lives Matter. We had mentioned that before. We're going to stand by that. It's going to be more production value. This clearly isn't an Instagram Live. Rayna and I are going to be together now. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to have some special performances. We're going to have all your crazy submissions for stories. We're going to share never before told stories. It's going to be bigger and better than the previous ones were. Those were a blast. Those are the best parts about the entire quarantine were those live shows we did. But like this one's going to be just like bigger, better, worth your ticket. Tickets will be available. girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Just go right to tour. We'll just put it at the top of the tour page.
I'll figure out how to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll just be probably right there. And look for it on it'll be a link in our bio on Instagram. Like we're going to be really hyping this and there's no limit to who can attend. So tell all your friends, watch together safely with your quarantine crew or whatever. Get your charcuterie boards out, get the wine flowing, like girls night and guys night, whatever you identify with. Wednesday, September 2nd, coming in hot.
We can't wait, guys. We are so excited. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And we will have meet and greet tickets available with that. The company that is helping us produce this is going to basically bring you guys in for like meet and greets with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can take a photo or a screenshot or, we haven't done this yet either, but it guaranteed to like chat with us for a few and be able to get a photo virtually. So that'll be fun and that'll be limited. So we're excited to get to meet some of you guys. Again, that'll be a little bit extra cost, but all this will be on the website as you're listening to this.
Yes. Can't wait to make you guys laugh again. I haven't decided how disgusting I'm going to be. I'm going to go all the way.
Full disgusting.
Okay, I have to tell you this thing I did before I came over today. Okay. It's a first even for me, and it was wild. Okay, so we will talk about this later, but we're partnering with a new sex toy company, and people always send us samples ahead of time to try out so that we can make sure we like the stuff before we tell you guys to buy stuff. Yeah. So I got a package of dildos. I got a package of sex toys. I masturbated with 2 sex toys at the same time. Right before I came over here. Hear me out because you're making a face.
Okay. So I feel like we should have saved this till we do their ad. But
no, I'm gonna make it gross then too.
Okay.
You like one of the toys like goes on your clit, and one of the toys goes inside of you. I had a double sex toy masturbation session.
You had DP before noon today. Okay. Did you get one of them's for?
It was actually at 1 p.m.
One of them is for a couple, right? I got one for me and one for.
Bitch, I'm single.
So, no, but like you basically, if you masturbated with both of those, one of them is for 2 people. So you basically got triple penetration. TP.
In the middle of doing it, I was thinking about all of you guys. I was thinking like right before I got off, like I can't wait to tell you guys about this on the podcast.
And that's what made you come. All the fans.
All my fans. I was so proud of you. To tell you, yes, a double vibrator orgasm today. It was great.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. In a couple weeks, we're going to tell you guys all about them. You're going to flock their websites. You can triple penetrate yourselves.
You got to look at, the next thing we're talking about, you got to look at the note I wrote you on.
Okay. So we share a spreadsheet that has some notes for the episodes. And sometimes we like to surprise each other. Like when I wrote Sex Rock and Rayna was like, what is this? So I went in there and wrote in all caps, Ashley's vagina update. And then Rayna added to it, there's a new one? Question mark. This is insane. I have been dying to tell you this. It has been so hard for me to even hold back from you. Okay. If you guys have been following along with my bush all throughout the pandemic, I'm just going to give a quick recap. I got sugared. It's like a wax, but better. If you're not familiar, I got sugared in February before I went to Australia and then came back a month later. And then the pandemic happened. And then I started talking about it on the podcast maybe 2 months after that. So there was a point in the quarantine where I had like 3-month bush. Okay. Mm-hmm. February, March, like May. And I went crazy and just shaved it all off. I got an electric shaver. I had like a 3-step process and I got rid of it all. And then I was like, this is great for like 24 hours, but then it started growing to be itchy and blah, blah, blah. A month after that, came back to New York. And then shortly thereafter, the sugaring salons opened. And we talked about this. And on July 8th, I got sugared. She wore the full hazmat and the shield.
The body shield.
By then I had a 6 weeks-ish, 2-month bush, whatever. Recap. like had a big bush, giant. It was flowing, shaved it, let it grow back, normal growth, and then sugared it. And now we're at 5 weeks. That was 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
My hair is barely grown back.
How long does it usually take to grow back?
Definitely a month. When in full bikini season, I go once a month, once every 5 weeks. There is like no hair.
Your vagina got the coronavirus? It's just like your vagina was like, listen, 2020 has been bad enough. It's just time to give her something.
Can I show you?
No, I believe you. Also, you pee in front of me and change in front of me every single day. Like, I don't see your vagina like every single day. Like, can I show you? I am in Ashley's pants. What?
Smooth.
What?
No
Okay,
hair.
can confirm. I am face to face with Ashley's vagina and there is no hair on it. The upper part.
It's literally like there's patches on my vagina where there's no hair. It's like I got laser hair removal or I'm like 1 day after a wax. I don't understand what's happening down there. I mean, I don't know if that woman like who, I loved, we were bonding, she like put some sorcery on me. Like it is insane. It's literally like I just have like a few stray hairs. Like even from afar, you might think I was cleanly shaven.
What do you think is accounting for this?
I literally don't know.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
That's crazy. That's like me style. How do you even look like that?
I have nothing to offer besides what I did, and which was grow your bush out for 3 months, shave it all, grow it out for another month or 2, and get sugared. And again, I don't think that's a routine to minimize your hair growth, but I don't know what's going on down there.
I don't understand what's happening to your vagina, but congratulations.
Thank you so much.
2020 is not so terrible.
Thanks. My vagina it's like better than ever.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Thanks
your vagina.
for your support.
I'm always supportive of your vagina.
Okay, guys, we're bringing back person of the week. We didn't get rid of it completely. We said we were going to do it when we felt like we were inspired and we really had somebody we're excited about. So we're going to make this quick. Person of the week is our future vice president, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden just announced her as his running mate. I don't think it's any big surprise that we are voting for Biden-Harris 2020, and we have more plans to discuss this more as we get further towards the election. But just while we're here, couldn't not discuss that big item in the news. So Kamala Harris, person of the week.
Yes. And we know we're a comedy show. We want to provide like a safe space for you guys to find this information and feel like, you understand politics a little better. And we want to encourage you to vote. So the reason why Donald Trump is in the office is not because he won the popular vote and he crushed it. It's because a third of this country did not vote. So if you look at statistics, whatever, I don't need to like give you a whole math lesson, but so many people didn't vote because they didn't think that your voice counts. But your voice counts. Fight for what you want, whatever it is that you want. Fight for it and vote. We are going to provide great ways for you guys to sign up to vote, to volunteer, to get involved, and to put the right candidate into office.
It is one of our greatest powers. Like, we are lucky to live in a democracy in a country where we get to vote for these people. Like, they work for us. I can't stress it enough. Like, we are on the world stage and we are not looking great right now. We are banned from every country. Like, we cannot have a pie chart after the 2020 election that shows that a third of people didn't vote. We just can't. It makes me feel crazy. Please make sure you're registered to vote. And, we're going to try to educate you guys a little bit more as the election nears. But today, at this moment, make sure you're registered to vote. Just Google it. Like, you can go to vote.org. It's so easy. I think you can register it on Instagram stories. Like, we'll start posting more of these resources. Like, we just want to use our platform to encourage you guys to use your voice to get out there on election day. I registered to vote in New York State without a New York license. And I didn't even know that was possible till someone told me that it was, because I was just procrastinating on getting an ID. And I literally registered to vote without that. Like, it's easy.
Yep. And vote.org. Also, if you guys are not sure if you're registered, they'll tell you. So
yes, your
I
status.
double checked the other day because I moved from Brooklyn to Manhattan. I wanted to make sure I was in the right precinct. So they let me know that I was.
Okay, good call. Like,
yes. Even if you
think you're good, you might not be good.
Yep.
Shit's crazy, guys. It's getting crazy. Trump is fucking with our post office.
Yeah.
Like, shit is wild. And I told Rayna, I said, if 99.9% of Girls Gotta Eat listeners aren't registered to vote, I'm going to fucking pop off.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Fired up
Ashley
thinking-
never pops up. It's so unlike her.
I'm about to go off.
But just get out there, girls, and we want to be a safe place where you
And
come
boys.
to get really good, positive information. We know we're a comedy show, but we also have a big voice and we want to use it. So get out there, check vote.org, and we will provide more resources for you guys soon.
Yeah.
We told you guys that we were going to do a wrap up of Selling Sunset. This is season 3 of a Netflix show about real estate. It's sort of similar to $1 Million Listing if you like that, but it mostly focuses just on the agents and their lives. It's these 2 little munchkin men that own this brokerage and the supermodels that work for them. So season 3, Selling Sunset. I finished it. I stayed home through the weekend. I did not love it.
Wow. Share your truth.
Okay. My feeling was that they didn't give really any of the characters a storyline. My feeling is that they filmed like 900 hours of content. Towards the end, Chriselle Hartley and Justin Hartley filed for divorce, and they were like, oh my God, the show has to be about this. So I felt like nobody had a storyline. I just feel like the storylines they developed were kind of stupid. It's just like Heather's storyline is like she doesn't eat lunch, and Mary's storyline is that she like was afraid to tell her boyfriend or her husband she was like going to a doctor's appointment. Christine's like terrible, and Davina has no storyline other than being fed horrible, terrible things to say to people, and that is it.
Yeah, I can agree. We literally could talk about this forever, and we know that because we actually did this already, and it was 30 minutes, and we are re-recording it to cut it down. So I'm going to stick to my 90-second recap that I talked about on Instagram. I put this on my Instagram story. If you missed it, I'll just say it again. My quick recap of season 3 of Selling Sunset was, I said, whether they're playing a role or not, Davina and Christine bring some of the most toxic energy I've ever seen on reality TV, and they are meant for each other, and that's on that. We need to protect Mary, Chriselle, and Amanza at all costs. And I said that their scenes supporting each other are the best part of the show. I know plenty of you guys prefer the drama, but I literally don't care. That's my opinion. I wasn't a huge fan of Romain before, but he redeemed himself to me. Maybe it was because he got less airtime, and it was kind of like a quality over quantity thing. And I still prefer him shirtless in a pool when he's talking shit on Davina, though. You know what I mean? Like, if he's going to say a powerful line like she's a snake, can your shirt be off? Anyway.
I mean, if you girls are looking for a treat, go to his Instagram. It is just him wet, shirtless with like inspirational quotes. He's just like naked in a shower, and he's like, time to seize the day. And it has nothing to do with what he's doing.
Like, today's another day.
Yeah, so check that out.
We can't plug Romain enough. Heather at Friendsgiving, Heather trying to figure out what to eat was honestly some editing genius. Like, just a montage of her asking about the ingredients and all the foods.
Okay, so you said this in our 30-minute wrap up, and I just want to tell you, I went back and watched the show again. It's every episode. Her only storyline is the way that she
her
eats.
diet.
It's which smoothies, is this vegan? Can I have this? I'm just gonna have water.
It's funny.
I mean, she looks great.
Yeah,
good for her.
And it's funny. I feel like she has a good sense of humor about it. Okay. Yeah. Karamo, who made a cameo, I said that he is on the wrong side of women's empowerment, and I hope he reflects on his stance, because he basically chose the mean girls over the nice girls, and he was like, I want to be on that side. It's like, they're terrible, but okay. The snow at Christine's wedding definitely violated a health code. That snow was fucking crazy. And my last take was that the $75 million house is still for sale on the Oppenheim Group's website. So whether that's a fake storyline or not, Davina has not sold the house. I don't think she sold a house ever.
My thought on the $75 million house is that it was a fake listing. I did check their website, so I guess somebody is trying to sell it. I feel like they hired like a Russian oligarch to come in there and like pretend, and Davina looks so terrified when she's talking about it, and she's talking about keeping the listing, and she's like, but nobody knows about it. It's like, isn't that your job? If you have 90 days to let people know about it? I don't really think she's actually the agent on that property.
I don't think, well, there's rumors that none of them are agents, but okay. So we want to keep this tight. We know a lot of you guys don't even watch the show, and you probably may not even care about this, but the main storyline was one of the agents named Chriselle, who was married, I'm not sure if the divorce is final, to Justin Hartley, who is a star of This Is Us. And he basically blindsided her with him filing for divorce. And that was like a pretty heavy storyline of the show. She seems like a really sweet person. I mean, what you know about her from the show, she grew up in poverty. She just seems like she has a great heart. You know, she's a really down to earth, nice family. She seems great. And she seems like a really sweet woman. And it was painful to see her go through this.
I loved watching. I like that you talked about the friendship aspect, because I did love watching people support her, and you really felt like the love, like
people, Mary and Amanza, and the guys. What are their names?
Jason and Brett. It's nice to like see people like rally for her and see this beautiful friendship. The whole storyline was that he like basically woke up and went straight to the courthouse and blindsided her, filed for divorce. She had no idea this was happening. And then they have all these different clips of all these other people talking shit on her and him. And I think one of the lines was like, well, I met him once at a party and he seemed really nice. And this doesn't seem like something he would do. And it's like, what? You don't know anything about this person. What are you talking about?
Yeah. The worst, Davina and Christine, who are whether this is who they are in real life or they're kind of playing into a role, they're pretty terrible. They don't really support other women. They take any opportunity they can to trash talk. And like their whole thing was just like this woman that they knew and they are allegedly friends with, they couldn't even give her the benefit of the doubt. Their immediate thing was like, how could he do that? Like, I met him once and he was nice to me. That's fucking crazy. That's like your friend tells you that somebody did something terrible to them and you doubt your friend because you met that person once. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy way to respond.
Well, I mean, like, only one of two things happen. You're actually accusing her blind, which is terrible, or you're allowing the producers to feed you those lines because you're allowing yourself to be portrayed by that. Both those things are terrible.
Yeah. So I'll say one final thing. This comes from Dewey, not me. Because I really try to keep it like less petty when we're talking about other women, even though I can't stand their characters. But we were watching it, and Dewey's take on it is Christina's so terrible. That's why her dog ran away from her. This is not me. This is coming from Dewey. Dewey said, if that was my mom, I would run away too, is what he said.
I believe you. And he probably said
we communicate. And when Christine came in and I guess they found the dog. So I wouldn't be saying this if it all turned out. But when she was like, I was late to dinner and I'm wearing my Balenciaga beanie and my dog ran away, Dewey was like, I get it.
100%. If that was my mom, I'd run away too. So
your mom was Christine.
I don't know. I would have like a great wardrobe.
The wardrobe. You're right.
Okay. Also, I will say one last final thing and then we are done with this. I promise. Her and her fiance act like they have never met before in real life ever. Every scene with them together, it's like watching two people that don't know each other.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And also, I know I promised that I would watch Love on the Spectrum. I promised to have watched it by next week. Dylan can't stop texting me about it. You don't have to mention him on every episode. And you started watching it.
I started watching it last night. I've watched 2 episodes. You like feel it in your heart. Like it is one of the most pure shows. Like we'll recap in full next week. But yeah, I'm loving it. We'll talk about next week. Okay, really quick, 2 teen movies. I watched Banana Split, which is recommended to me by a listener. And again, I was like, this high schooler is hot, but I looked him up and he's in his 20s, so it's fine. He was, he's like Dylan Sprouse or Cole Sprouse, one of those Sprouse brothers. He played on like Zach and Cody's Sweet Life or whatever, that Nickelodeon show. He's fucking hot now.
Oh, he's very hot.
Yeah.
I look at him and his girlfriend are like so cute.
Banana Split is really cute. And the premise is great. This girl, like basically she breaks up with this guy she's in love with and then becomes friends with his new girlfriend and they become like best friends. It's crazy. And then Work It, obviously the dance movie. It should be, it's like trending on Netflix.
Okay.
Work It is not like, it's not like Pen 15 or like super bad. Like it's not R-rated. It's just like kind of a cheesy like dance high school movie. Still liked it. The lead guy's hot. And then this was old. This is not teen, but this is old. This is in 2017, and I had forgotten about it until my friend Sophia posted it in her Instagram story. Ingrid Goes West. Aubrey Plaza plays the lead. She's like obsessed with influencers and Instagram. She's a little fucked up, like a little mental shit going on. Yeah, and she basically kind of stalks. Whatever. She goes to California and tries to befriend this influencer. And it's really fascinating in terms of like what's real and what's not real and how people obsess over Instagram. And it'll fuck you up a little.
Really?
At the end shook me up. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I think you guys would like it. And it's, again, Ingrid Goes West. It's on Netflix.
I love Aubrey Plaza. Maybe I'll watch that too.
From Delaware. Do you know that?
No, I don't know anything about her other than Parks and Rec, which is one of my favorite shows. Okay, I have a recommendation for you before we shut this down, the intro down. Okay, I bought this book. I was reading it in the park on Sunday. I'm recommending this for my ability to help you pick up guys, not because the book is good, although the book is fine. Yuval Noah Harari, I think I'm saying his name right. He wrote Sapiens.
Okay.
And he has a newer book called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And it explores immigration and religion and politics. And it's sort of interesting. I don't know. I haven't haven't gotten that deep into it. I can't recommend this author enough because guys go crazy for him. And anytime you pull out one of his books, I have 100% rate of meeting dudes. Okay, here's what happened. Okay. I was at Domino Park in Brooklyn. I took out this book and this guy was giving up his circle for us, and he was beautiful. He looked like Patrick Dempsey. You guys saw my Instagram story. I'm still trying to find him. He was beautiful. He was like flirting with me a little bit, and I took out the book, and he was like, oh my gosh, have you read his other books? And I was like, what other book? And I like totally like blanked because he was so cute. And he was like, Sapiens. And I was like, oh my God, guys like nut all over themselves for Sapiens. It is 100% return rate because the last guy I knew was reading Sapiens, we met him in an elevator. He had it in his hand and I fucked him later that night.
And you referenced the book.
Reference the book. Sapiens is the best book for picking up dudes, 100%.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. It is, you take out that book and you put it on your table at like a coffee shop, or I guess we're not sitting inside anymore, but like outdoors, it is 100% return rate that a dude will talk to you.
You guys get Sapiens out and put it in your socially distanced circle in the park, and you will have a guy come over to you, and also keep your mask on and stay 6 feet away from him, but he'll come over.
Yeah, we're in socially distanced circles. This guy stood there and talked to me, flirted with me about Sapiens for 10 minutes. It was great.
What is that book about?
Sapiens, it's a brief history of humankind.
Okay. I love this. Thirst trapping with books.
Yes.
We'll maybe think about some others and provide them at a later date. Yeah, if you guys have books and things that you have just been whipping out and the guys have been flocking, let us know.
Robert Greene is my second backup. He wrote The Art of War, The Art of Seduction, and I think 48 Laws of Power. Fantastic writer.
Okay. I love that tip.
I just think that like books are the quickest, easiest opening line to connect with a person. Why did you choose this? Why do you like this author? Have you read anything else by the person? It sounds kind of pretentious, but it's just like, that is the best opening line. Like I used to say you should just like have like some sunscreen next to you in the park, but like we're not walking up to strangers anymore.
And rubbing them down. Yeah.
Yes. And I actually, the reason why I thought of Robert Greene is I saw some guy last night in Domino Park do this with a girl. She was reading The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene. He walked over and he pulled the book out of his bag. Jeremy and I sat there and watched the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Wild. He just pulled it out, struck up a conversation with her. She sat inside the distance circle. He sat outside the distance circle. And I like watched him sit down. They talked for like 20 minutes and Jeremy and I got up and left.
Love connection.
Books, I just like take a book out. Sapiens, it is 100% return rate.
Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. The guy I fucked with Sapiens, super hot.
Yeah.
You know, I read Sapiens because like that other guy last summer who broke up with me told me to read it. And I used it to pick up another guy.
Vicious circle.
Yeah, that's the circle of power. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
We are so excited to introduce this woman to you today. She is a 4th generation psychic medium who specializes in aura readings, which are the colorful life force energies around individuals. She has the rare ability to see and interpret colors around people, which we're going to have her explain. Michaela has appeared on such shows as The Real Housewives of Orange County, which I am obsessed with, and I definitely want to talk to her more about. Tons of morning shows and podcasts. She has her own podcast, Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Please welcome to the show, Mystic Michaela.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Rayna, for having me here.
Thanks for being here.
Oh my
we
gosh.
are so excited to talk to you.
You have no idea how excited I am to talk to you ladies. Like,
we got so many requests for you too from our listeners. Yeah. We got so many that were like, you need to have this woman on. And we were like, say no more.
They're always asking me what color you girls are. So they're always like, what's Rayna's aura? What's Ashley's aura? So it's just like, I get that question a lot. And
it's always pink.
Everybody wants to be pink. That is true.
Oh, so where are you from originally?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for my accent. I am from Buffalo, New York.
I knew you were from upstate New York. It's not, I love it. It's like reminds me of like Corey's family. They're all from that area. But like, I was just picking up on it because you live in Florida now, right?
I do. Yes. I live in Florida now.
But we are so excited to have you. And I am such a novice with this type of stuff. So I'm so excited for you to explain it to us more and our audience. And you really make the rounds on a lot of shows. You're like kind of a big deal.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, my thing with auras is like, it's an energy signature around you. And I happen to see it in color. But like, forget that like I can do this cool thing, like see colors around people. Like my real passion is how do you live life more authentically? And that's how I use my ability to just try to like, even if you don't get a reading with me, like what is it about myself that's authentic and unique, and how can I maximize that and then attract that into my life? So that's what my whole thing with auras are. It's like live your truth, like you girls say, like live authentically. And how can I do that? And there's 5 main aura colors that I see around people. And usually you have a combination of 2. And it's just kind of like a guideline thing that I've mapped out. And usually people can figure out what they are, even if they can't see colors, and then just start attracting that stuff into their life. And it controls everything, like careers, how you work out, like your personality, like what motivates you, who you date, everything.
I love it. And you're also a psychic medium.
I am. Yes.
Like predict future, see dead people. What's your specialty?
Ashley said, what's your vibe? What's your vibe with dead people?
Dead people are cool. Like, so when I do a session, I call it spiritual life guidance, because honestly, like psychic sounds so cringy to me, but like I guess that's the most understandable thing. And I'm from a psychic family. Like my whole family does something like this. Like my mom's a medium, my uncle, it goes up my mom's side of the family. So I grew up kind of thinking this was not, I'm very down to earth. I like to say, like, to make the paranormal normal. So like dead people are just people. And so when I do a reading, like sometimes they'll come through. Like they don't scare me. They're just people who are dead. Yeah. And usually the way mediumship works for me is if it has something to do with your closure on something, or it's because we all have these like blocks or obstacles. And so sometimes like a dead person can help you get over that. So that's how it works for me.
Okay.
Usually.
And I love that you said that some people can just use this as a guide. And I think that helps most people be a little more comfortable. This isn't like a hard, fast thing. This is just something you can use as a guide. But I would like you to explain, since we've said it a few times, like what an aura is and what that means.
And then some people have just like a shitty, toxic aura. Like what?
Yeah. So, and that happens. So, well, let's talk about that.
Like we know somebody that like there's no way he has a good aura.
I know.
Like when you were on Real Housewives of Orange County, you met Vicky and you were like, you're kind of just a bitch.
Yeah. Like some people make you sick. And that's the thing. Like you can be around somebody and you can get
like Tamara.
You can get physically. She was actually really nice to me. I have
Ashley
to say.
doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Okay. She's like, oh, this is like OC talk. Like because
you guys can talk offline.
But like some people, their auras or their energy, you know it's a vibe. Some people have a really bad vibe, and that's just their aura. Because every aura, I see it in color, but they all have a unique vibe too. Like red people are very like intense or like leadership, or purple people are very spontaneous or fun, or yellow people are really inquisitive and they ask a lot of questions and they're very busy. And so like you can get that from somebody. And that's what an aura is. It's an energy signature around you that everybody feels who meets you. And if you get used to articulating like how you feel, which actually like is a muscle. So the more you pay attention to how you feel, the more you pay attention to how you react, or how your own energy reacts when you're in a situation or you're around certain people or you're dating or you're in a relationship or whatever, the more you'll be able to not be manipulated by other people's vibes. And because some of us are used to toxicity because we grew up in a toxic environment. And so I always say like we do what is comfortable for us, not what is good for us. So if you like, oh my God, like I really like toxic people because my mom was so toxic. If you like ding, 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 like that's not natural. Your soul doesn't want that. So if you pay attention to it, then you can be like, okay, I'm doing that thing again where I know how to deal with toxic love and it's more comfortable than like a healthier type of mutual relationship. So things like that. But yeah, you can feel people coming across, and that's just the energy bubble around each one of us. And the way you have like toxic aura people. So some people,
do you tell them?
So I'm very nice. So I
have to tell us the nice way to tell somebody they're toxic.
You have to. Some people, it kind of is easier if I talk about it in color. Because like for example, like some people, like blue people, for example, like if they're
like
balanced.
Davina from Selling Sunset. Do you watch
she is blue. How do you know that? See, you're good.
She's toxic. Okay, so
if you tell me I'm blue, I'm gonna be so pissed.
There's 5 colors.
Said I was blue.
There's 5 colors.
Okay, but you gotta understand, any there are 5 colors, but your
Okay.
intention is separate from your color. Like, it's not the color's fault if you have a bad intention. It's just going to control how the intention comes out. Like, you, Ashley, you're very honest. Like, you're an honest person. Like, you don't hide anything. And then somebody like who you're talking about on that show, like, that's different because it's more of like a victim mentality, or like, you don't let yourself fall into that trap. Like, you're like big on personal responsibility and stuff like that. Some blue people can fall into the trap of everything happens to me, everything's my fault, or and like that. And if they really start making that their identity, their victimization constantly, it's very toxic to be around. And then they feel like they have a right to be a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
I just need you to like keep explaining to me what an aura is. I really need you to hammer this down to me.
Okay,
So
let me
like,
hammer it down. There's 5 main aura colors, and you are usually a combination of 2, and you usually stay that way your whole life. Although, because life is the way it is, you can shove one color out sometimes, or you can be really imbalanced, or like one of your colors can get really cloudy, or like whatever. So your colors can be unhealthy sometimes. And that's why, like, when I look at old pictures of you, or, you know, if you gave me an old picture when you're going through something, I could probably tell versus like now, you know, like that, just the way that you hold your colors and your balance. But it's red, blue, yellow, green, and purple. Those are the 5 main aura colors. And usually there's 2 colors per person. And like I said, like, it's not like your intentions are yours, and like, you know, intentions meaning like right versus wrong, or like your motivations or what you want to do in this life. The colors are more like personality filters, like how you're going to go about doing it. So do you want me to go into each one? Like, would that be helpful?
Yeah, I think let's breeze through each one a little bit and then do ours.
Oh,
right?
okay. All right. So red people are like, their vibes like very just leader, very in charge, direct, honest. Usually you see them in like business, managers, sales, stuff like that. Purple people, very spontaneous, kind of free-spirited, a little bit more scattered with their thinking. Their vibe is kind of just whatever, let's do it, free spirit. So usually you see purples as like artists or performers or stuff like that. Green people are very intellectual. They're kind of like lone wolves. They're a little nerdy. They can have like a self-centered thing, but they don't mean to be. Like, it's just how they are. Usually they're like really into the finer things. I could go on and on about those are the ones with fetishes. We'll have to go into them.
you have just described my friend's boyfriend to a T. Okay.
Really? Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, bye. You might have to show me a picture of him.
Let's do it.
They have like engineer brains like that. Like, they think kind of
100%.
They like Star Wars a little too much. Okay, yellow people.
Yeah, but pretentious.
Yeah, they can be.
All right, I keep interrupting.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
true. Green people are, honestly, 90% of my reading problems are about people dealing with green people. Yellow auras are very, like I said, inquisitive. They're like spreadsheet queens, like to-do list junkies, like extremely like, but they love it. They're really into yoga, like a lot usually, and they're like interior designers. They're very together. They're usually blonde, which I find interesting. Blue people are your nurses and your healers, and they're compassionate, and they're teachers and things like that. They're givers, but they don't like to receive. And yeah, so that's blue people. So those are the 5 main aura colors.
Okay.
You're a combo. Now,
I'm nervous.
oh my gosh, no, but it's good. You guys are good. Stop.
What are that? What are that? What are we?
Okay, so I'll start with you, Ashley. So you're like, the way I see you is you are red and blue. Like, you feel now because
Thank you so much.
because you're red and blue.
I was like, as long as you said red, that's all I heard. I don't care about anything.
Okay. Well, usually red people are a little bit more like, what's this about? You know, just because you are honest and direct, and you feel like you're the type of person who, like, I feel like you're very trustworthy with a lot of things, and I feel like you just will take over, and it's easier to be in charge than to let other people do things. And I feel like
Great for me. She does everything.
Can I tell you something crazy, Michaela?
Yes, tell me.
Those are the colors I wear to our live shows. Like,
my God,
those
you're
are the
attracted to
colors I
them.
look best in.
Yeah.
And what I'm known for is the red jumpsuit and the blue jumpsuit.
I love when you say you're known for it. What I'm known for.
But like, I'm known for wear, like, not a lot of people like will just wear red head to toe.
Yeah.
And it's always been that I wear red and royal blue.
Yeah, I find that though, like, people are attracted to their aura colors like a lot, like in their own wardrobes. And red women are a thing. Like, I don't see a lot of them. Well, I see a lot of them, but they get like shamed.
It's a masculine color, I think.
Yeah, they get shamed a lot in our society because like being a loud, assertive female is like, don't do that. That's a boy or something or whatever, which isn't true, you know. But
or
like
when you see all female CEOs with the same characteristics that men have, and they're vilified for being horrible bitches.
100%.
But like if it was a man, this is not like a hot take. If it was a man, they'd be praised for it.
That's right, Rayna. No, it's true. Yeah. Because society, that's what it, and now with you, Rayna, I see you as purple blue. So you're both blue, but I see you as purple blue. But with you, see, the thing with purples is that and this is why you two work so well together. And my husband's a red, and I'm purple. So like you guys have a similar dynamic in a lot of ways. I feel like you give and take in the right ways. Like, so I feel like with you, Rayna, like, you know when to take it personally, you know when not to take it personally. You feel like you're a good energy read. So I feel like you're really good at reading people. I feel like you're really good at picking things up quickly. I feel like you're good at kind of dealing with the unsaid or stuff like that. And you feel like you're very flexible. That's the other thing. I feel like you can kind of change on a dime, and you feel like a lot of fun. And you feel like you're somebody who is constant. But with you, I do get like purples tend to struggle a little bit with self-destruction in order to change. So, and I'm purple too, so it's just preaching to the choir. It's kind of like in order to get to the next version of yourself, sometimes I feel like you can put yourself through a lot more than you have to or something. But I feel like maybe you're getting kinder to yourself as you go on. But that's the purple I get on you.
Okay.
I feel like that's so accurate.
You think I feel like other than this self-destructiveness, because I'm not like generally like an anxious person that thinks like, oh, I don't like myself, and so I need to work on myself all the time. Yeah, everybody needs to work on themselves. But
I don't think of it like that. I think of it as you've talked about this plenty in the podcast, stuff that you do that you know you shouldn't be doing. They make you feel bad. Like they don't make you feel like, you know, depressed and suicidal, but just the little things, like whether it's drinking, whether it's texting, whether it's like talking to this guy that you keep fucking talking to. Apparently you should phone sex tonight. I'll talk about it later. But like you do stuff you know you shouldn't be doing.
I do stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
That's what I mean.
Self-destructive there's a spectrum of like ruining your life and just doing something that you know doesn't make you feel good.
Right. It's not tremendous emotional suicide, but I like how you talk about like working with another person, because I think that I was actually talking to a friend yesterday who I'm very close with, but I wouldn't say she's quick to anger. She said she's quick to anger. I've always envied the way she really sticks up for herself, but she does sort of like, you know, and I don't think that would work well with Ashley. If every single time she took the bait, because like, Ashley is moodier than I am, and she is quicker to anger than I am. And like two of those people in the same room is not good. So I do think we work better together because I am a little more flexible. And sometimes I am really quick to let things go and be like, whatever, this isn't a big deal. And I need like a red to be like, no, this is a big deal. And we are going to stay on top of this, and we are going to do the details that we need to do. You know, like that does work really well for me and her. Yeah,
you guys have a yin and yang thing going on in your partnership and your friendship. And that's why I feel like it's been so successful for you two, because like you don't expect to be the same person. Like you allow each other to be different. And
well, it would never have worked.
Reds like don't usually work well together.
Well, it's really like we're grateful for this every day. So
and two purples can just kind of just like be like, let's forget about it. Like that.
It's so true though. And like anybody that's like a newer listener to our show, Ashley and I didn't really know each other that well before we started the show. So we didn't spend like years being like, let's vet each other. This was like a 4-month vetting process.
Wow.
Yeah. So we lucked out.
So let's talk about sex auras and what these auras look like in the bedroom and which ones go together.
Okay.
Yes. So let's talk about sex.
Oh my gosh. So when I do readings, I mean, sex is obviously like a huge deal. So if people aren't having it like with their partners or whatever, or it's like wrong or something's like up with it, it messes up everything. And the big thing with like sex and like auras is if you understand, just like with anything, communication, for example, you're doing it different and you're getting different things out of it than perhaps your partner is, then you can not blame them so much for their needs or their wants or their desires. And you can understand that maybe they don't understand that yours are different. So maybe you can have more success that way. And I also find that you kind of choose a partner based on like how screwed up you are. That's the other thing. So I oftentimes, Like we'll see people pick somebody because, and this is what you really have to be careful with, like back to the programming thing, like, you know, not to be all psychologist, but daddy issues. And then like, you're always, you know, going after somebody who, I don't know, isn't giving you all in the bedroom in a lot of ways because you're used to feeling like not fulfilled and that's like comfortable for you. But yeah, so there's kind of like an overall thing. But with red people, I usually see they're super visual. Like, so these are the people who are, and I don't know, Ashley, if you can attest, like, tell me what you want. Like, I don't want to play games. Like, let's just, like, what's going on here? Like, very to the point in a lot of ways. I usually see them like fine with taking charge in the bedroom. They have more confidence usually. And they usually do really well with purples, like with sex and relationships and stuff.
The first time we had sex, it was great.
Who was on top? Was it you?
Rayna was on top.
We have really like reached the boundaries of like closeness, but the touching each other's body parts is really where we draw the line.
Yeah, we don't physically touch.
We use the same vibrators. We talk about what the other person wants to hear in bed. My dad constantly talks about Ashley's butthole every single week.
But we draw the line of physical touch.
Yeah, physical touch.
That's good to have boundaries. That's good.
Yeah,
we hug once a quarter.
We don't hug, so fingering would be like really out of left field.
That'd be like awkward.
How'd you get in there?
Yeah, confidence. Yeah, I mean, I also think people kind of like can appreciate both, like taking control and then also being submissive too.
Yeah, red
Are
people.
Are you submissive?
A little bit.
I mean, I am happy to be. I don't need to be like a dom in the bedroom, but I don't like some of the degrading stuff. You know that. But like, I like a guy that's like, you know, push me up against a wall. Like,
yeah.
You know, I like some light choking. Things that are like a guy taking control. I think that's hot. I think a lot of women probably feel that way.
Yeah. I have a question. Also, when you talk about like, somebody being like a little more visual, does this also correlate to like the kind of porn people like also?
Yeah. Like reds. See, and I notice with reds too, like they're more straightforward with like their porn or like with like what they like to see or like what they like to do. Like even when you say like light choking or, you know, that's not really hardcore. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very like basic, not basic, but you know what I mean? It's pretty run of the mill or whatever.
She likes missionary sex porn. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Like
no, because you can't choke when a guy's on the top. That's just weird. So I like being on top.
Yeah, like usually red people aren't so, I don't know, because I feel like in their lives, they get out what they want to say all the time. So in the bedroom, it's not like all this repression comes out in weird ways or whatever, like maybe for other colors.
That's so true. Because you see some girls that are these like very nerdy, kind of, not that nerdy is a bad thing. I think it'd be very sexy. Nerdy, introverted. They don't talk a lot in like day-to-day conversation. They are the biggest freaks on the planet. I envy those girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't really need to work through anything in the bedroom. We already just like, you know.
And that's how red people usually are. They're saying, you know, they're sticking up for themselves if somebody cuts them in line and they don't have to like work that out like later with a partner, you know, like all secondarily.
I love that analogy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about blue since we both have blue.
Blues do have the submissive thing going on because, okay, so blue people are empaths, which mean they can feel other people's feelings the same as their own in a lot of ways. Now, because you're red, Ashley, you have more of an ability to possibly kind of like shut it down or whatever. And I feel like Rayna, because I feel like, I don't know your background, but I feel like you've been working in like this industry or this world long enough to be like, okay, you know, like take a perspective break from some things. But some people who are really, really blue do not know the difference between other people's feelings and their own. So in the bedroom, they can be super codependent. So it's almost like they can't come unless their partner's happy or they know their partner's like extremely like aroused or is into it. So they're going to need that person to constantly give them like, they're almost like needy, like affirmation. Like, is this good? Do you like this? Or like that. And I notice that a lot with blues that don't speak up for themselves a lot on the outside and who have some codependency issues, but that can be a blue thing. And then also like you can't get rid of that all the way though, because they do feel what other people are feeling as their own. So like if they're getting off on their partner getting off, like that's part of their experience. So they kind of need the other person to be into it themselves.
It seems more of a feminine trait than a masculine. Like there's plenty of guys like aren't there for your pleasure. You know what I mean?
I see that a lot with women, definitely.
And also it just sounds like blue means intuitive in general. I consider myself a super intuitive person. I think that Rayna is too. And you pick up what people are putting down and like, I don't think you need to be insecure and codependent to feel like someone's not really enjoying themselves in the bedroom. You know, like I think picking up on those feelings of like, oh, this person just isn't as into it as I am. And then of course, I think you don't just steamroll that feeling. You try to figure out what's going on and act accordingly, you know?
Yeah. I think this is really interesting, like talking about how people's auras and, you know, their vibe and the way they are in their day-to-day life. Like there's people that I've had sex. I think I'm good at sex. I enjoy sex. And I think that does make most people better at sex if you really enjoy what you're doing. But there's some people I've had sex with where I'm just like, I hated that. Like that was really not enjoyable. But like I enjoy sex and I bring energy and I bring fun into the bedroom and creativity and all these things and I'm confident. But like why are some people so unenjoyable to have sex with? What are you laughing about? What are you choking back?
No, I'm thinking about it. Like I know all the people you're talking about.
All the people. So I just, you know, it's interesting to me, like some of those people I know other people they've slept with and they don't have the same report card for that person that I do. And so it's interesting how like the vibe in your life that you have day to day, you really, really bring that into the bedroom because I just assume that all sex should be good because I have fun and I enjoy it. But I have had some mind-blowingly terrible sex.
You can make your own fun because that's a purple person thing to do anyhow, you know, like just bring the party or whatever. Like,
oh my God, Rayna is so purple. Let's keep going on this. That is so Rayna. Like she is so, if so, she could have just like a total dud of a man and you're like, I'm bringing the party. I'm bringing the vibrators out. I'm going to stick this in your butt without any lube, but I don't care what you think about it. Like that is so you. You fuck the most boring guys and you're like, I want to make this fun for me. He needs to apologize to me.
That's an amazing quality.
I mean, at the very least, I know that I will have a great story at the end of it. Like, I won't always come, but yeah, like, I took a vibrator out of my drawer and lubed it up and shoved it in this guy's ass. And like, that is a joke I used on stage forever. And but I do think that I will always bring the party and the enjoyment. And like, I don't know, if you can't have fun with that, then I don't know what you're having fun with. But no, that's luck.
And the thing with purple people I notice, and like with you or whatever, like it's you have empathic qualities, so you can like you know what's going on. You're not in a different reality than the other person that you're with in the bedroom, you know. But like you can also take a step back and it's kind of like watching a movie. In a way, it's like you see what's going on and you're aware of it, but you're not always as, okay, I'm not going to be sucked into whatever his whirlpool of issues are or like whatever, you know, and I'll just do me and, you know, you can join me or not get on this fun train or not, or like whatever. But society does something called purple shaming, which I feel like you're a victim of where... And nobody knows about purple shaming, so I'm trying to get the word out. It's a whole social activist thing. I'm trying to get the word out about because
are we gonna have a parade?
I think we need a parade for purples. Because so having fun and being kind of like, I don't know, flexible and free spirited and just. I feel like you're the type of person, Rayna, and like like that you can take a silver lining and make something out. You know what? But at least this will happen, or like whatever. And society can come down on that and be like, oh, you know, are you trying to get all the attention, or are you trying to, you know, be loud or fun in like a negative connotation? And it's really about other people's insecurities that they can't do what you're doing. You know, they can't make lemons out of lemonade or like, you know, do something, you know, it's a lot of society telling you, hey, get back into your hole, be like the rest of us. Don't be sparkly. Don't be shiny, because if you are, then things are going to happen for you that won't happen for us. So that's like an insecurity thing from society that I see on purples a lot. So like that guy obviously had some issues when he was saying it sarcastically, but being a lot of fun's a fun thing.
I'm glad that you brought this up because I wanted to tell Ashley this thing, and I think it's just an interesting metaphor in general for anybody that's a little outside of the box. I was at a Hamptons house with a couple people, and I was talking about what I do for a living to these two people, and I was talking about, I think like tit fucking came up, something like that, something like pretty innocuous fetish. And I started talking about it a little bit with these two guys, dead sober, middle of the day, we're doing dishes, we're like cooking dinner or whatever, and I'm pretty... I tamped it down quite a bit compared to how, because I was with people, I didn't really know them very well. It's a friend. A friend of mine is dating one of them. Right. And after that conversation, one of the guys said to my friend, like, your friend is like really wild. The stuff that comes out of her mouth is like really crazy. And this other girl came to the party and she was like, or to the party, there was like 5 of us having dinner. She was like, I heard that you're like so wild and crazy and you say all this wild stuff. And I knew that guy heard the stuff that I said and went and told everybody she's so nuts and you should hear the stuff that comes out of her mouth without any context to the fact that this is what I do for a living and I've built a business talking about this stuff.
Right.
That people listen to our show, come to our shows, love our advice and our feedback. I wasn't like some drunk, crazy person talking about this, and I was really insulted by it.
Yeah.
And I thought about that a lot, like people that are willing to sort of like go out on a limb and talk about this stuff for anybody to shame you, like how nuts that is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's purple shaming.
I think that's probably like a
it's
purple shaming thing.
Yes, and it's so deeply embedded in our society. And I see it like with like little kids, like they put on their tutus and come down and perform for everybody. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're trying to be center of attention or this or that. And it's like, no, they're just being happy. And why does that trigger you? Because subconsciously
jealousy.
they can't be. It is.
Right.
And a lot of people can't get in. And that's part of the work that we have to do. And that's what I talk about a lot with auras. It's like, what are your triggers? Because like those things usually come out in judgment towards others or things like that. And if you investigate them, and you hash it out, then you're like, holy crap. Okay. Like I get it now and I'm going to fix that about myself. And I can talk about these things, which is what your whole show is about here. It's like, let's just flip and talk about it and like free people up from these constraints. But yeah, purples in the bedroom, they're a lot of fun. So like that's kind of
And if people have a problem with the stuff that you talk about, those just aren't your people. That's how I felt about them. This just wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang out that person.
No.
Okay. Let's talk about yellows and greens in bed because I'm very curious.
Okay. So I'll save greens for last because they're more like fetishy. My God. Yeah. And then there's like distinctions with fetishes. So we got to get into that. But like, okay. So yellow people, they like moments, so like they're more like into, like, okay, tonight's the night. I try to become a yellow. It's hard for me. I love yellow people. They plan so well. Like, they're the ones that like, I don't know, they just knew they should pack an overnight bag when they're on this date. They just know it was going to go there so that they never have the walk of shame, because like for some, it's like, how'd you know to pack that outfit? Like, how'd you know to do that? Like, they have a to-do list mentality in the bedroom too, a little bit. So they're the types like in relationships, they'll plan sex, like, okay, we're going to do it this date or like whatever. They love foreplay. They're more your foreplay people instead of just, I mean, we all like that, but like, I feel like they're more into it a little bit more and everything's more like, and first you do this and then we do this and then it kind of like that a little bit.
I'm like, are you thinking of the people like this? I have a friend that like, I'm
in the bedroom
that I just know she's just like that. It's like the planned sex and she could just make out for hours and she's like always prepared and it's like sorry, I had to interrupt you.
No, it's not funny. Like having like a menu and like sometimes like, I like to like give a blowjob, get on top, have them get on top. I like some steps sometimes. So are they very planned out like that always?
Yeah. And they might also be like, well, it's the third date. So that means that we can do this. And this isn't wrong if I sleep with you because we did this twice or something like that. Like they have their own
like maybe a low-key neurotic at times. Yes. I guess is probably their flaw is just a little neurotic. And I say that with love.
And it is with love. Yeah, they get stuff done. Like they're usually, them as like very cheerful, like optimistic, like happy people who just always have planned for things their whole lives like this. And in the bedroom, they're very fun and the thing with them is they usually end up with people, yellow people usually end up in relationships that look really good, like from the outside, like everything's accounted for. And then in the bedroom, they really try to replicate that. They really want, okay, it's been 2 nights, we should have sex again. Like they're more like on top of how things are on paper a little bit. And that's how they make sure everything's okay. Like, so that's yellow people.
Yeah. This all makes sense.
Are they more likely to have relationships that sort of look good on paper and aren't as great behind closed doors?
Sometimes, yes, that can happen. That can happen more with yellow people. Again, it all really depends on like their background and stuff like that. But the ego, I call it, the ego is the human part of us that sneaks in and takes over in all the wrong ways. So the ego with yellow people, that's how it comes in. Like if everything looks cookie cutter from the outside, then everything's great. Like yellow people always have the best underwear. Like that's just my random, like...
I am so unyellow. It's not even funny. I don't wear underwear.
Okay.
I have flecks of yellow. Okay. There's some things that you brought up.
I can see that.
I make notes all day, every day. I can't leave the house without my moleskin. I'll just write the same note every single day over and over and over again. I love interior design. I have the best underwear.
Wow. Well, you guys are smart too. So like there's parts of you that can like mold into any, that's the blue too. Like I'll see blue people be able to do anything, you know, who have intelligence, because like blue people can mold into like, what's the role I need to be in, like that in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's yellow people. Good underwear and Rayna too. Yeah.
And yeah, they're just like put together all the time. You know what I mean? Like I know these people. They're just always fucking put together.
Yeah.
You're just like, are you ever just a sloppy mess like me?
And I could see them also making choices for relationships. And this isn't a bad thing, but I think Ashley and I choose on our gut. We would just love to be with somebody that makes us laugh and is smart. And like, I think that those people probably are more, I mean, you tell me because you're the expert,
no, you're
but
right.
I could see them making a list, an actual checklist and being like specific income level, specific 1000%. Type of job, like specific married family, house, and, you know, like things like that.
Everything you just said. Yes. And they usually end up with like the wealthy, you know, financial analyst. We don't know what he does quite, you know, job. And like, we're like, oh, okay. And like, they have this great house. And it just, that's just because yellows are good manifestors that way. They can just kind of see things. And usually society does favor yellow people and green people. Society, our current Western, like we Jews tend to favor these. That's why the freaking Bachelor, they always pick a green bachelor.
Well, they seem like a less emotional type of person, outwardly emotional. I feel like Ashley is like quicker to anger. I'm quicker to be like a ridiculous person and be loud. And I think that,
we're a lot.
Yeah.
And also this like I feel like yellows, like people that are yellow are like, that's me. And listening to this, it's very specific. And it's like, I can think of my friends that are yellows, like really right off the top of my head. I don't even barely have to like dig deep, but it's also no shade. It's not that you like live a fake life.
Oh no.
You're just like, it's regimented, it's manifested, it's appearance matters, I guess.
Yeah. They care about the packaging because, and a lot of it has to do with, they don't want to look messy to anybody else. They want things to look, and they want things to feel good for other people too. So part of that is like their appearance or how they're very professional usually, you know, things like that. And they're usually great to work with and they're great to be friends with. And they're usually extremely honest as well. They have an honesty thing too.
I'm thinking of female bosses I've had. And yes, I'm with Ashley. No shade to those people. I actually look at those people a lot and feel envious that like they don't have to say every single thing that comes to their mind. Like every thought I have comes out of my face. And I think that that's not always the best thing in every situation. I'm not going to change that at this point. But like, yeah, I am envious.
You're like, I tried. I can't change at this point. Okay, let's talk about these freaky greens.
Freaky greens. Okay.
Freaky greens. Is that a salad joint we should come up with? By the way.
That's our next job. Our next venture is salad.
It's just fast casual.
Girls got to eat. Girls got to eat freaky greens.
Freaky greens.
Green people, I had to categorize them because there's so many types. There's like gamer green and guru green and CEO green and like science guy green. But like in the bedroom, we'll just keep it simple here. You get extreme. You get extreme with the green. So I'll either see green people being like so freaking focused on you. It's stressful. Like they'll know like which way your vagina is shaped. Like did you know that you're crooked? That your uterus is tipped? Like they'll tell you shit like that. And you'll be like, who? Like because they have a scientific way of thinking of things. And so those types of guys, like I don't know, they're like really into like when in sex, they're like very much into like the rituals of it. And in a lot of ways, like first you have to look this way and then we do this. So they can be like almost, and if you have an issue with so much attention, that can be extremely stressful.
It sounds like they're good at oral, probably.
Yeah, they are. But it's almost like a machine. So you could be like, can you change it up a little? Or, you know, can you shock me? Yeah. Or can you do something different? Or can you just like, I don't know, like, because it's more about like what they do and like how they do it, like the process. So these people are usually like really good with mechanics or they're engineers or they're like, so they kind of treating you the same way a little bit.
Like you're a car.
Yep. Yeah. So, and you can kind of feel if you're like kind of aware or in tune, like this is weird, like do something that's about me a little bit. So that's one type. But I mean, and then you kind of feel bad if you're complaining about that because you're like, oh, that's like a lot of nice attention. So whatever. But then some of them, like usually some of them have like major freak issues. Now there's lots of fetish stuff, you know, and then there's like the, I guess the more run of them, like whatever. fetish is like a foot fetish, like whatever, you know, like, or like you said, like titty fucking, like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Big deal. These guys are the ones that want to be tied up a certain way, or they're, I don't know, they need to be walked on or stomped on, or that giant. You ever hear about the giant thing? I actually heard that this has happened more than once in my readings where like she has like the oh my God. Have you guys heard of this one?
What do you know? What?
Okay. The guy there's this like role play thing where the girl's really big, like a giant, and he's tiny, and you have to play this whole part with them. I'm not even making this up.
Whatever. I think it sounds fine and healthy. It's just,
it's totally fine and healthy. It's just,
no one's going to play that with me.
I mean, I can play that just in my own self.
Yeah.
Like I can just find a short guy and we can do that. I'm already a giant like that. Cause I can do that like if she can
do it with me right after this interview.
That's me and Rayna's fetish. It's just how we are in normal life.
Look that one up. That's like a whole rabbit hole, but like I
am going to look it up. Like what do you do? What do you treat them like? Are they like a miniature person? That's crazy.
Yes.
The way that you did that. I had one guy though that really wanted me to like walk on his back with heels. He wanted me to tell him he was worthless. He wanted me to like tie his balls up with stockings with like
he was probably green.
I mean, don't say his name,
but yeah, I want to know more about green outside the bedroom, but inside the bedroom, let's cover this. Cause like so I'm just curious, like what leads somebody to be that level of freakishness?
Yeah.
It's not weird to me. It's just, you don't find it a lot.
Yeah. As long as it's consensual or that's not all greens, obviously, you know, like, that's just like, I think I do so many readings with so many people that are going through something. Cause like, I don't think you get a reading if you're just fine. You know what I mean? Like something like usually you're going. So I do have the advantage of being able to have talked to a lot of people dealing with a lot of different situations in their life. So this stuff does come up and like the partner will be like, oh my God, is this a reflection on me? Like usually like they'll take it really personally and it's like, no, this is nothing to do with like, this is just, that's their thing.
No.
Yeah, usually it definitely has something to do with like their mother or something.
Like being suppressed in some way.
Yeah,
like maybe,
or their father, rejection, or who knows what. Like,
or maybe even like kind of a strict upbringing or just less sex positive in general.
Yeah, it could be. It's usually from childhood or something. And, you know, it's just kind of, we all have our thing that I guess we're repressed on. But green people, and I think the way that it expresses themselves in people who have a green aura is because they tend to be way more scientifically minded. So everything that they do anyhow is usually very logical and calculated and very scientific and very step-by-step oriented and ritualistic. So, I mean, the way that they even deal with their cars, like don't eat in my car, or they get it cleaned every Tuesday, or, you know, the way that they are with their shoes, or like the way that they are with their dry cleaning is the same way they are in the bedroom. So
like OCD.
Yep. It's like micromanaging. It's like such and so it's fine. And listen, and the other flip side of green people is they can be like extremely passionate lovers too, you know, but like, yeah, that's what I see the most with the green people. Now, red people can have fetishes too, but I see them more being like the regular stuff, you know,
just
like
dominatrix shit. They're just like, I gotta be in control.
Just run of the mill shit. I love this notion that you guys both were talking about a little bit, like that people show up to relationships with their own shit and their own baggage that has been being put in the bags for decades and has nothing to do with you. So I think that like you learn to speak your partner's language, but like if someone is really sexually repressed, you didn't do that. Mm-hmm. And we hear from a lot of girls, like, I don't know how to approach my partner about this fetish or this type of porn I want to watch. You know, thank you for, normalizing asking for this stuff. But like your partner had a whole life before you. So they have shown up with all these baggage without anything you've done. So it does take time, I think, to work through that with any partner.
Yeah. And it's just comfort and communication and being like, okay, like this makes them happy. And if this is something that I'm cool with too, then let's figure it out. But don't make it about you. You know, like as soon as you make it about you, or like, did I do something wrong? And that's, can he not have me the regular way? Or like things like that. It can get in your head a little bit, and then it can mess with your own triggers or your own feelings of not, self-worth. So these things can blow up in a certain, I mean, that's funny to talk about the fetishes because they are funny. I mean, they're funny, like that's just what people come up with. But yeah, the green people, usually they're the ones with it.
All this stuff's just, it's funny. We're like all fucking weird and do weird, funny shit.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about which ones go best together? And are there any just like ones that clash?
Yes, there are. You do not like,
I can't even think a green guy. I wouldn't know part of it.
It wouldn't be for, Well, you sent me a picture. We got to talk about that.
Yes. We actually, so I gotta tell you, we're gonna talk about I'm telling the audience, we're gonna talk about people Ashley and I've dated, and we spent a really long time talking about who we were gonna select for you. So we will unpack that. But
okay, so I won't get into that now. But like, okay, so reds and greens usually are no-nos. Like they just I don't know, it's almost like they get along fine, like in the regular world, but in the bedroom it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Like it's just kind of like awkward.
If someone asked Ashley to tie their balls up with stockings and then walk on their back, Ashley would be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Reds and purples go really well, probably because like red people don't mind, like red people do like to be in control a little bit, but they don't mind a little feisty pushback on that. And it's and like, so both colors have a lot of passion. So it's kind of just like red people like to be surprised or like shocked, like, oh, okay, you're going to pull that on me. Okay, that's cool. All right. Like, let me do this back to you. And then they don't worry so much about each other's feelings during it. I mean, like it's really hard to insult a red person and it's really hard to insult a purple person in life. And then I feel like in the bedroom, like, because it's just like, if it's all in fun and if it's all passion and fun, it's like they can really lose themselves both in it. That's why I usually see red and purple people, they last the longest in relationships. In general, because even if they have fights or disagreements like over regular life stuff, in the bedroom they always work out. My husband's a red, so like that's why I feel like we've worked out too. Like you'll work out in the bedroom even if you don't work out anywhere else, like that kind of thing. So so they work. Blues work with anybody. I often see blues with greens because of the whole like where they really want somebody to be happy and they really want to feel the other person being, you know, I don't know, feel good about themselves. And that's like a main motivation. And it's really sweet, like in their sexual expression. So green people, they like that. They're like, okay, you want to do this? Or you want me to tie your balls up with pantyhose or whatever you guys were saying? Like, okay. Like they're okay with that.
That sounds great. Just makes me happy.
Well, I actually said somebody the other day, like, I don't remember I was talking to you. I don't know who else I talked to. I said, I am actually not usually the one that incites freaky fetish stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll do it. And I'll say like, I don't remember who was like, wow, you must be fun to have sex with. But like, I'll sort of let somebody take the lead. So if somebody else has like freaky fetish, but I'm not usually the one that is provoking the freaky fetish stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like that made me think of you saying reds or people like me like purple in terms of purple not being as fetishy, but like adventurous. Like I'm always down to like try this thing I haven't tried before that's not so out there.
Yeah,
you know?
just light pushing of the boundaries.
Like
nothing
the first
crazy.
time a guy was like, let's get a cock ring. Like that's not wild and crazy. That's not a fetish. But I was like, oh, I've never done that before. 100%. Let's try it. You know, I think it's just being kind of like open. But I just don't know that I'm down for anything. I'm not claiming to be. I think you're probably a little more down for like an completely out of the ordinary fetish.
More, but I don't usually suggest it. I don't usually bring it to the table.
Yeah, boundaries and like, you know, depending on who we are as people, like that's going to change person to person for sure.
Right.
And who you're with too. And like how much you want it to work. Like, you know, and how I really like them. So fine, I'll do this thing. Like, all right. Like, you know, like you make concessions.
So who are yellows fucking?
Yellows really, they're so good with everybody. Yellows and reds. Yellow on yellow. Yellows and reds, not so good. Yellows and blues, yellows and greens. Yellows like purples, but they can find them like a little bit too, I don't know, like all over the place.
Too sloppy. Yeah. You're like, you don't fit my aesthetic.
They'll be friends with them. Yeah, but like, or maybe like I have a yellow friend and she broke up with somebody because he wouldn't take a shower after sex. And it's like, and I'm like, really? Like that's, who cares? She's like, that's
yellows
gross.
Aren't like fucking people from the other side of the tracks, is what you're saying. They think it sounds like a good idea. They'll like fetishize it a little bit, but then they're like, nope.
Yeah, that's
okay. You don't fit the aesthetic.
Right. And yeah, so that's kind of how it breaks down. I mean, I think everybody fucks everybody, but like, I think like the long-term stuff and then like purples and blues, they generally can, but those relationships, it's hard because like it depends, you know, like on the person and maybe on their other colors, but they work great, but they can be like a lot of feelings and a lot of like,
is it too much feelings?
Sometimes it's too many feelings. Yeah. And like you kind of need somebody to not have feelings so you have them, or it's like the other way around. So it can be a little much with the purples and the blues.
A lot of crying in the bedroom.
Yeah, too much crying. Too many issues. Yeah.
Okay. I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we kind of answered this. I was going to ask you, can you figure out your aura on your own? But I feel like that's people now are hearing this and they're probably figuring out which one they are unless they're lying to themselves.
Yeah, you can figure it. Like I said, it's a vibe. I always say like what motivates you. That's where you start with. Like what truly, not what you do, what truly motivates you. And sometimes you got to dig a little, because sometimes a motivation is like, I like to do new things. And that's like, you know, I like to break the mold. That's a motivation. Or sometimes a motivation is like, I like to make the people around me happy. I like to make them feel good. That's a motivation. Or I like to achieve, or I like to compete, or I like to innovate, you know? So like you have to, if you can kind of really gather that can like change our life. First of all, like what motivates me at the core, because it's different for all of us. And if you can figure that out, you can figure out your color.
I just want to like run through them to make sure we have this right. If people are kind of like trying to backtrack. So like motivation, I feel like red is like achieve, be the best, be at the top of my game.
Yes.
Purple feels like I want to see the world and accomplish things, but like have all these experiences.
Yes.
And blue is like I want to please others and be a good friend and a good partner and all of that. Maybe.
Yeah. Make good connections.
Yeah, good connections. Green.
I know, poor green people.
Yellow is I want my life to be perfect.
Yeah, like I want things to be orderly, you know, and efficient.
What's
green people? They truly are. Like, sometimes it helps if I name some celebrities, like Mark Zuckerberg's a green. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, like what's greedy?
What color would have just told the expert all 5 of the colors? Red. That's what I want to know. Which color would have been like, I'm going to explain this to you, because that's the most Ashley red thing. Ashley's.
I just love to be right. You know, I love to be right.
But Ashley, you're good at it. But that makes me feel good, because I used to be a teacher, so I'm like, good, she has retention. That's good.
Ashley, let's wind you back up, and I'm going to tell you all the things that I know about this.
I was seeing if I hate you.
No, I appreciate it.
It was a very Ashley thing to do.
One thing we always talk about, and Rayna has talked about it, she brought it up kind of early on in the podcast, is like not exactly always knowing why you like somebody on a date, or you know, everything's here. They're perfect on paper. They have all these things I've been looking for, you know, on my checklist, whether it's a physical checklist or not. You know, like why don't I like them? And it's like there's really no explanation. It's energy. It's the way they smell. It's the way they look at you. It's just like sometimes you can't explain it, because you have these two people that seem like they should be a great match, but they just aren't. And the answer is just like energy.
Yeah, just feel it. Yeah, she's right. Yeah, like and that is a purple thing. Like just trust your gut. Like, because like the big thing is like, you know, before you have knowledge. Like, so like if you meet somebody, sometimes you can feel like this is or isn't going to work out. I have no idea why. It's easier with your friends. Like if like you see somebody dating your friend and you're like, oh my God, he's bad news. Like, well, why? I'm like, I don't know. And like later you're right, you know, but like in the moment you just have to trust that something will come to light that proves that to you. And that's your gut.
Well, it's good that we're normalizing stuff like this more, because I feel like maybe 10, 20 years ago, you would be like, I don't know, he has a bad aura. And someone would be like, okay, Phoebe from Friends, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you fucking witchy, hippy dippy, like woo woo person? And now it's like so much more acceptable to be like, he has a bad aura. And then your friend's like, oh, you're right.
We want people to trust their guides too. I mean, we did this episode called You're Not the One in September or October. It was one of our favorite episodes, just about like good on paper guy. And you're like, I should like everything about this person. They make sense, like economically, socially, religious wise, we match up, you know, like whatever. And it just doesn't, it's like, I don't know. We didn't vibe. We have different auras.
Yeah. It's okay.
So we would love, because you mentioned talking about sex dreams, and we would love to just unpack them a little bit with you and your expertise in sex dreams, because I have them all the time and I want to know what they mean.
Well, did you say, is the word astral? Does that mean
astral?
What is that word?
Okay. So
sex dream?
So there's dreams. Yeah, astral sex. There's dreams, which are just dreams, you know, like where you, I don't know, like have a dream and it's really stupid. And like sometimes there's symbols in it. and like a bear was chasing me, and like usually these are like just, or my teeth are falling out. Yeah, or I'm flying, or like whatever. Those are more like symbolic, like you dealing with your own subconscious, like that kind of thing. Then there's astral projection, which you got to like jump on the woo-woo train with me, because like that's where you actually go into your astral body and you leave your physical body, and you can actually meet on astral planes dead people, exes, like your twin flames, like all sorts of things, and have like, they feel like more real experiences. So if you've ever like met up with an ex like that, and then you were like, oh my God, you wake up, and the difference is than a dream is that it feels real. It bothers you the rest of the day. And then it's sometimes you'll hear from them or something, or you'll hear your song, or you'll hear something that kind of like, oh my God, I just had that thing. And then I heard our song, or then my friend mentioned him, or like whatever. That's usually like a cue in that it wasn't just, a dream. It was something more than that. So it's kind of like your higher selves hang out, and astral sex is a thing. And I hear about it a lot. And it's kind of like you have sex with an ex, or sex with somebody that you know on the astral plane, but it feels real. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. I had a crazy dream about my ex that like, I just knew he was with somebody else. And like, I found out maybe a week or so later, but like the dream was so realistic. I mean, this is not like a hot take. I think we've all had these where you're like, that happened. I don't know how to describe it to you. My mom's had some crazy stuff happen.
Yeah.
With like predicting like death of a family member, kind of wild stuff like that.
Like visitations from a pet, like stuff like that. If
Yeah. I'll have things where I'm upset for hours, like very upset all day, and then I'll hear from the person. That has happened to me.
That's interesting.
Not that I'm like a clairvoyant psychic.
No, that's what that is though. You were picking up on their, like if energy's energy, right? And like some of us are more open to it, like you're just picking up on their waves towards you.
And then, I mean, if you had dreams where you had sex or hooked up with somebody and you like, I've woken up like so upset that they weren't right there.
Yeah.
And then I masturbate and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
That can happen too. It feels real. I will see people meeting up with their exes, like, or their twin flames, or people that they didn't have closure with. And then that can be really, really stressful. Or they'll be in a relationship and they're having sex in these astral situations with an ex, and they're like, oh my God, I feel like I cheated, like things like that. So
yeah,
that's very common. I took like a poll, like a super non-scientific poll on my Instagram. It was like 50% of people said they did it. Like, so I'm like, that's pretty high, I think, like for people to admit it. So I don't know.
Also, telling somebody that you are interested in, that you want to date, not like an ex, but like somebody you're interested in, that you had a dream about them, can open the door to get to them being interested in you back. Like I had a friend of mine who was still with this guy. She's been with him for years. They were always friends. They worked together in some capacity, and she started to look at him in a different way. And she did have a dream about him. This wasn't like a lie, but she wanted to change their dynamic of their friendship. She was like, I'm interested in him romantically and I don't really know what to do. And she told him she had a dream about him. And he was like, I think you can gauge if someone's interested in you. If a guy doesn't like you at all, or the girl doesn't like you at all, they're like, cool, sounds neat. And they just like shut it down. But like, if they're interested, they're like, well, what happened in the dream? And then you can kind of be like, we had sex or whatever. And like, it worked for her. And we still to this day, I mean, they've been together for years now. We always say that's like a tip you can do if you want to pique somebody's interest.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what terrible guys do all the time. I had a dream about you last night. I thought I saw you walking across the street yesterday. I thought I saw you at the grocery store. Do me a favor. Don't reach out. I don't want to hear the lie. Men do this. Terrible.
They're lying because they're lying. Women would never lie about their dreams.
Yeah, it's like way more intimate when a woman says it.
What is a twin flame? Like your soulmate?
Yeah, so soulmates and twin flames are different. Soulmates, the way I see it, I mean, you could talk to like a bunch of different medium psychics and get like all these different answers. A soulmate is somebody you can have more than one of. Like you two are soulmates, and it doesn't mean it's sexual. It's like as you totally explained to me at the beginning of this interview, like this is a platonic, loving friendship. But yeah, it's like a soulmate relationship. So it's like past life stuff. Like you feel like home with the other person. And you can have more than one of those in your lifetime, and they work out really nicely. And then twin flames, though, can really screw you up. Like, so a twin flame, there's always a runner and a chaser. And usually the relationship is fast and quick, and it's a few months. And what it is like your soul. They say it's your soul split in two, and one half is in somebody else, and the other half is in you. But like that's what the explanation is. I just feel like you're destined.
What?
Yeah.
So it's bad?
So usually people who have twin flame situations, the thing is they're very old souls. And like the story arc of it is like many lifetimes. And so you meet this person in every freaking lifetime, and it like you got to go through it. And one of the lifetimes it'll finally work out, but usually 9 times out of 10 you're not in that lifetime. So what it feels like is the best relationship but the worst, and it just never quite works out. And it's not It's not
just
abusive.
too much.
It's too much. Yeah.
It's too much. Okay.
And it's not an abusive relationship. That's different. Like, because narcissists and sociopaths will make you feel like this is a magical relationship. It's not that. It's just like, I don't know, she can't figure it out. He can't figure it out, you know, or whatever. And it's like when you're with them, it's not just physical. It's like mental. It's spiritual. It's like, oh my God, like it almost feels like an addiction to this person. And like usually one person is the runner and one's the chaser. But when you're together, it's like perfect. But one person is always like, I'm not ready, or they just like, they go away, but then they always come back. And then you always have like dreams of them, and then they show back up. And there's always like these weird synchronicities, like my sister's birthday is your mom's birthday, like weird things like that. So that's a twin flame relationship. And if you've had one, you kind of know immediately, like, I think that guy was my twin flame.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah.
Like it's like so obvious.
Yeah. It's hard to get over them, and you never do. That's the other thing. You can still love and have great relationships, and actually, like, it's supposed to be a catalyst for a spiritual awakening. So you'll find that when you meet a twin flame, if you look back around that time of your life, like so much happened that got you to where you are today, even though it was
exactly that.
It's crazy.
Do you have this? I have this beyond. Like what you're describing is exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was my boyfriend I dated after college for 1 year. It was the most explosive, mentally abusive relationship I've ever been in. I loved him like so fucking much. The sex was crazy, but we were terrible to each other. We fought all the time. It was insane. And then I moved to New York to like get the fuck away. I mean, that's not why I moved to New York. I moved to New York because I had a degree in marketing and advertising. I always said I'd live here, but like it got so bad that I was just like, yeah, I have to leave here immediately.
Does he pop up a lot? Usually they pop up a lot.
He tries to like get back in once a year. He'll send me some weird message and I don't ever respond.
They'll do weird things. Like, and they know when you're happy too, like telepathically, because like when you're not thinking of them for a while, they'll like do something weird. And you're like, oh my God, you know, and it's like super annoying. Yeah, that's twin flame. But you can meet them in like your astral sex dreams, and it can just screw you up for a day or two, and then you move on.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'd never heard this.
Yeah, I know.
This is great.
Oh, really?
Okay, I have a question before we get into this, because we sent you photos of
I sent a video too.
People. Ashley sent a video because you're gonna read the auras of these people, and we picked very different people. But do you need to know do you need to know like what the background of the relationship was?
Well, let me read them first, and then you can. Okay. So. Actually, the one that pops out the most to me.
Can you show us who you're looking at?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, Ashley is this guy. That guy.
That's, well, okay. You tell me.
All right. So this guy gives me the most stress out of all the pictures here. Because I feel like there's a lot of heartbreak going on. And he's very sensitive. But I feel like he's green and blue. All right. So he's got this like blue thing, but he leads with the blue. And I feel like he covers up a lot of insecurity with it, honestly, because I feel like you got sides of him sometimes that were a little bit rigid. And I get like it really was coming from, I feel like he's heartbroken. I feel like in his mind,
I feel like that's like the twin flame person.
Yeah. That's why he's making me sweat. And like I get, he feels like,
sorry,
it's hard.
Why are we doing this today?
Oh, Ashley,
it's okay. It was a lot of heartbreak.
I'm sorry.
Shouldn't have started. Should have done this.
It's not like heartbroken now, but it was like so devastating.
Yeah.
And you could still be sad for the years of heartbreak.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, I mean it's good to feel your emotions. Let it out. You know, like it's a lot of power. And I feel like with him, you wonder if you made a mistake or something, but I feel like he never opened up 100% and he thinks he did. And so I get there's a lot of miscommunication here between the two of you where he feels like the one that's slighted or something. But really he's very, there's two sides to him. There's an outward part that is very like, this is the way it is, and white and black and da 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 da, and like very, but there's this inside that's extremely like hurt or something. And I get that he loves you a lot, and I don't feel like that went anywhere. And that's what I get from that picture. But he's also stubborn as hell.
Oh my God.
You got to understand that you're in the spotlight and he still notices you. You know what I mean? Even like you can avoid him, but he probably can't avoid you so much.
How do you know all this stuff?
So
just like
it's stressing him out. And he feels like he picked a predictable situation. And so like it's kind of like, but he still thinks, and I just get that like what he says and what he feels are two different things, and you would call him out on that a lot, and there would be like a lot of back and forth about it, and you were right, you know, you were more right, but like it still hurts. So that's who pops out the most to me.
And I do think that is the person who she felt like her soul really matched with the most.
Aww.
And I think that those are really hard relationships to let go of. Even if you don't think that you should be together forever, I think that you can still miss joking with the person and laughing and that person's insights. And, you know, I think that's really tough.
I like dream that we'll be friends one day. Like I don't really think about him romantically, but yeah, I'd like,
well, it's okay to still love somebody, and like, there's no way to get rid of that. So you just have to, you know, make room for it, you know?
I don't know how we're going to edit this.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a good message to other people that, like, first of all, things can still cause you pain that you don't think about every day. I don't think Ashley thinks about this person ever unless we're talking about him. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Unless he's an example for the podcast. I don't think that he never comes up in conversation. He's not used as an anecdote for anything. Sometimes I look at his Instagram and make fun of him. That's the only time that we talk about him. I think that things, even though you cry about it today, that doesn't mean that you're upset about it today. It can still be reminiscent of something really painful to you in the past. And it was. And I think you're happy for him.
100%. Like I just want him to be happy. And it's not a pining for the romantic relationship. I like feel deep in my soul that wasn't the person I was supposed to be with. But like, it was like such a soulmate of my life and like a best friend, you know, somebody that like felt like family. So.
I often find if it was supposed to happen, it would have happened, you know?
I totally agree. I don't have regrets. Like it just, you know, there were moments, Rayna and I both felt this with exes of like, did I do everything I could? It just doesn't really matter. It worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, again, if you're a newer listener to this podcast, Ashley and I met in Aruba, and we always joke around about that night, and we had dinner together in Aruba. But really what like bonded me to her was that we stayed up the entire night, me, her, and a group of girls. We talked about our previous relationships, and that's what we bonded over, and we connected on for hours, just like drinking in this hotel lobby, talking about our exes. And, you know, I had been engaged previously, and I think I was still sort of getting over that even years later. And that's what bonded us. So he was sort of a catalyst for us to like become close and start this show. And this show was very healing to me. And so all of this was a catalyst for the show. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I have to look at Rayna's people. Okay, so now both of them talk to me for different reasons, but
I'm so nervous about
this one,
I don't know if I should tell you this. I did not have very serious long-term relationships with either of these people.
That's okay. That's good, because I'm not going to say nice things. Because like this one here. Okay.
Rip him apart, Michaela.
I don't
no
talk about
context clues, Ashley.
Okay, Chameleon Green. I didn't even talk about Chameleon Green. Okay, so this is the type of guy who he says whatever needs to be said in the moment to fit in. And I feel like that's what he did to you. And I feel like the thing with you, Rayna, is like you can feel people's intentions. So they could say, I don't know, I ate a whale for breakfast and da-da-da-da and all these lies. And you can feel underneath if they believe it or not, you know? And I feel like that's what you go from. And the thing is, I feel like he believed a lot of the shit that he said. And I get that. So it's hard to gauge people like that, because like I truly feel like he believed the stuff that was coming out of his mouth that like made up his identity. And I feel like he like had like a false identity. And I feel like he wanted to be seen as like richer or cooler. And I get that he wanted to be seen as like, I get almost like an artistic thing with him, because he's chameleon green with purple. So I feel like he pretends to be I don't know if he's pretending to be like in the industry or producer or something weird like that. Cause I get that he like talked himself up. But
if you guys can't see our faces, we are losing our minds.
And I feel like but is it lying if somebody believes what they say? You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think it's a symptom of a personality disorder. I feel like
we don't think he was like a manipulative liar. We think exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, like I feel like he believes what he said. So like what does that make him?
Until it stops serving him. I think he'll say what he needs to say until it stops serving him.
And he feels like a bit of a ghoster, and he feels like as soon as you figure him out, it's like poof, I gotta go, because he can only exist in his like false reality he creates for people.
This is insane. Also, guys, if you're listening, like Michaela, she didn't have time to like reverse Google image search these people.
We didn't give her the names, and there's no Instagram handle.
No, we cropped out every single information she could find, and we sent these to you 3 minutes before we hit record. Not that people are doubting you,
you had to read explain that.
We didn't send you names, photos days ago so you could research these people. We sent you pictures and nothing else a minute before we hit record on this. So just, again, we're not doubting you, but I want people to know.
I love reading pictures.
I don't know how you did it, because I was trying to be like, should I have them be smiling? Should I have full bodies? Like, this person is not somebody I had a long-term serious relationship with. This is somebody who I met, who I instantly felt like was my person. Yeah. I felt like I was going to be in love with this person. He's like everything I want in terms of somebody, how funny, creative, interesting. Like, he fucked me up. And then he just like strung me along for like 15, 16 months and just like... I think he had a lot of bullshit and probably believed it, but I think he strung me along. He like lied about this relationship that he was in, because I think that he thought he would I think he liked what I was selling. I think he liked being a part of my life. I think he liked the creativity. I think that he thought maybe I could help him professionally. Mm-hmm. The second that I figured out exactly the kind of person he is and that he was basically manipulating me to do certain things professionally, I told him no, he never talked to me again.
Does he have like a false career or something? Because like he felt like kind of like weird like that. Like you can't put a label on it.
Yes, exactly that. And but he tries to give off this like he's this creative and he's and he doesn't even have a fucking career. Also, what you said, just like let's tie it into him having a girlfriend this whole time while you guys were hanging out every fucking day and going on walks. Like he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Like he doesn't, I feel like he doesn't, like exactly what you said. He doesn't think he's a liar and a manipulator. Mm-hmm. He can convince himself that he's living a truthful life.
Yes.
He made it seem like there's this girl, I don't care if she hears this or not. He made it seem like there was this girl that was like, he was in a long distance, I use relationship loosely, that when I go to where she lives, we sleep together. Okay. Like I had no idea this was like a serious relationship. And yes, we were spending all this time together. We were spending late nights. Nothing physical ever happened during that time. So he wasn't physically cheating on her. But yes, we were taking walks every morning together. We were spending all day together. And then I found out she had moved here to live with him in his apartment. Like a very serious relationship. And again, in the court of law, he did not cheat on her.
Yeah.
He certainly didn't do anything.
But emotional cheating.
Yeah, I think he led me to believe this wasn't that big of a deal. And this guy like really like rocked me in like a bad way.
Well, he feels he feels intelligent and he feels like really tuned into you. And it's a type of predator, it's a type of predator.
Park predator.
When we see predators, we think of people who are like, vicious or like Joe Goldberg from You or something. But like, there's a different type of predator and they just want it frickin' your attention. They just want your attention.
So
and they want, and you, Rayna, you're very special. And he saw that and he's like, oh, I'm going to suck that up for me, like this attention and what, and what that brings to me or whatever. And, so that's what he did. But that's chameleon green. Like they'll just chameleon themselves into like whatever they need to be to survive or feel like they're like attention seeking people, like, but in the bad way.
So if you're not, if one of these people trick you, which he did over and over again, even though Ashley screamed in my face continuously, I hate this guy. I mean, I don't think I'm a weak, stupid person. Like,
no, you're not.
I think that like I let myself believe that I enjoy this person. And when I realized he was like really seriously using me for professional gain, I cut it off. And that was the last time we ever spoke.
Yeah. And you're only human. You guys vibed and you gave him the benefit of the doubt until you saw him for who he really was. So, all right. Who's next?
Tattoo guy? Rayna, or
we can do Ashley next.
Yeah, let's do Ashley.
We'll do Ashley. Let's go Ashley. Okay, this guy. Okay. So
We're not going to cry.
No, he doesn't look like you'd cry. So he's green too. What is with you with these greens? So he's green too, but he's gamer green. Gamer greens are completely different type of green. So he feels like he lives in a subgroup in a way of the world where he kind of sees things in a really cool outside perspective, which can make him be like interesting. I feel like he's really interesting to listen to. So I feel like he's like, oh, what's the word? You know, he's, what's that? There's probably a term in comedy for it or something, like when observational humor or something. Like I feel like he can see how everything is and then like comment on it. It's like, oh my God, you're so right. That's so funny. And I feel like that's kind of where he's at or whatever. I feel like he's a little current or something because I get this kind of like feeling where I don't want to like, it's my own hesitation to like say if it's going to work out or not. Cause I don't want like to like make you feel sad, I guess, or whatever.
Oh no, it's current, but it's like, it doesn't, whatever you say, it will not.
It feels like a friendship and it feels like fun and he's very sweet. And I just get that his serious level is like very low. Like, and I get that like he just doesn't feel like a huge committer. I feel like commitment makes him tired and fatigued. Like when we talk about emotional commitment.
Emotional commitment, yeah.
Yeah, like emotional, like he'll show up for like work or things like that. But I feel like, he's got like a fatigue going on when it's like, well, let's make this a label or something. And
totally.
And I feel like
so accurate.
I have a big thing with my psychic readings is free will. 1000% takes care of everything. You have all the choice. Nothing's written in stone, like at all. But there are places that can like waste your time. And I do feel like with him, he's a good friend, but I feel like you need to be seeing other people too, which I feel like you are.
Oh, we're not dating, but like, do you think we'll have sex again ever?
I feel like he's nervous that if he has sex with you again, you'll think it's more serious than it is.
Ew, I do not think that.
I know.
I think that it's easy to fall back into. I think the sex is good and you enjoy him. I think
that
anybody.
It's not even a big deal. Yeah.
And I also think that he's young, and that also is why maybe it feels less serious because he's not on the same playing field as you.
He's fun. He's so sweet. He's fun, and I feel like he's
not a bad guy at all.
No, he feels like a really nice guy.
I've always said about him, he will never do anything terrible.
Exactly. He feels very upfront, but also like he's one of those guys. And I think like we meet these people sometimes like, well, I never said we were serious, therefore, or I never said this, or I never said that. So it's not bad if I go, if you find out he's hanging out with like a bunch of other girls, it's like, well, he never, we never made this a thing. And I think he does that on purpose. So, and that's a green person thing. Like I'm not a bad guy, even though we hang out a lot and this looks like it should be something. We never made it official, therefore it's not. So
yeah, and I think do you see aloof at all? That's like a word I would really use to describe him. Is like actually like genuinely aloof, not just like pretending to be like.
No, he feels like he feels like a kid in a lot of ways. Like,
thank you. Go off, sis.
But he is. Like, I think that some of the things you're talking about will change when he actually grows up. He's a lot younger than us.
Maybe.
So.
And I don't know how well he's going to do with the ups and downs of like whatever he's trying to do, by the way, like the way that you two have, like it does. Sometimes you fall on your face, you know what I mean? And you have to like dig out of that. And I don't know if he knows what that's like yet. And I feel like when he does go through that, he can totally disappear, get really down on himself and get stressed out. And then he can self-isolate sometimes when he's stressed and things. So you, instead of like being like, invite people in to help me, I feel like he pushes people away because he doesn't want anybody to see him as a failure. So he's a lot deeper than he pretends to be. So yeah, I get that. He's a smart guy. But yeah, like aloof. Smart. Yeah, I just don't feel like he wants to have anything. No albatrosses. And it's sad that he thinks like relationships, some green people have this thing where they can't be successful and they can't be emotionally happy at the same time. So I feel like he's one of them.
Yeah, it could be comedians.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and that was kind of a conversation we had, that type of thing. I don't think I can balance a relationship. But I said to him, like, I'm not looking to be in a relationship. Rayna and I were on a world tour at the time. I was like, I'm not looking for that either. And I think he was like, wait, I think I helped him see that you could do both and you could hang out with somebody and enjoy their company. You don't have to have a label on it and you can still succeed professionally. Mm-hmm. And then he was kind of like, took a few days and was like, okay, well, I do want to date. And then it was like, okay, but now the world stopped. And then that was it. So everything you said was spot on. Shocker. Okay, this next one.
Ashley, you got to stop giving clues to your face. You got to just bring your face up.
He's red. He is very red. So I feel like the passion is there. And he gives me kind of like that, I don't know, like a heart racy feeling with it. Like, ooh, I like that. Like, that's good. But I get this thing like where...
Don't you have to be successful if you're red?
Ashley, just let her read it.
That's funny. Well, some red people... Well, I feel
successful at shutting up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to get out of the frame.
Look at her. She's like laying down. I feel like he likes you a lot and he feels like he can kind of control you a little bit, Rayna, but he's not controlling. I feel like he just likes to try to tell you what to do or make you like more about it. He feels like genuinely interested in you, but I do get something holding him back and I'm trying to figure out what that is. And I don't know if it's like, because it feels like there's distance between the two of you. So I don't know if this is like geographical or if this is just like something weird like that. Because I get there's something where he's trying to talk you into something or sell something to you. And it feels like he's and the good thing is he does not. He's like, you go do you. He loves everything about you. Like the whole purple thing, thinks that's great. You know, at you talking the way you do. I feel like he's super into it, all that. He just wants that all on him. And I feel like, I don't know, he wants to kind of scoop you up and keep you like this little dog he's holding in this picture. And I feel like he just wants to keep you like your little fear, like little Rayna, like, and I want to keep her or whatever. And he does feel like he can talk down a little bit of like what you like the industry or and you know, you think about life and moving forward. And I feel like he has promises for you. And he means it, but they're much simpler than the ones maybe you have. So I feel like he is
not a good match.
Is a symptom, right? Is a symptom of your vacillation a little bit. Like, can I do what I do in life? This is like your subconscious talking. I don't know if it is, but this is what I get. Like, can I do what I do in life and be successful and be Rayna and be on this podcast and everything I want to do and be a good wife, mother, like all these other things I might want to do someday too. And I feel like he's a symptom from spirit trying to tell you, no, you have to choose. And I feel like that's incorrect. You don't have to choose. And why can't he mush into your life instead of you mushing into his life? And I feel like that's because like red people sometimes, and usually red people aren't, what's the word? Insecure, or usually they're not like, he's not, what's the word? Like he wouldn't have a problem with you having a spotlight. Like usually red people aren't like that. And I don't feel like he does. I just feel like he wants you as for himself, his own. That's what I get from him. So I get a sales job here.
This is like 100% to a T. Like he wants to live this like specific life that is so outside the realm of anything I would ever do. He wants to like live on a boat in the middle of nowhere.
Like nature, yeah.
And he loves what I do and he's so proud of it. But I think that like he is immovable to doing anything that I want him to do.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. He's saying these are my boundaries. These are upfront what I want. You can choose to accept them or not. Basically, it doesn't make you a bad guy. But I do think he sort of like mocks my lifestyle and teases me about it a lot, and it really bothers me.
Yeah,
and like
not nice.
The last time we talked, we sort of had like a fight, and then I was like, I feel like you do this to like pick at me and break me down or something because like you're intimidated by me making money or being successful, and I don't like it, and it's not fun, and it makes me fire back in a way that I'm not proud of either.
You can only have one red in your life. And it's me, bitch. Hate this guy.
Yeah, I feel like he and trust me, he will go after you, Ashley, because like you are the person that he knows is the only anchor keeping her like away from him.
But I do think all the dude. I have thought, you know, like he lived in a city that I really loved, and I've thought, you know, can I live this life and also have this person? I'm not going to give up everything for anybody. Like this is the number one thing in my life. But yeah, it's made me think not just about him, but in general, like, can I have this life and have a partner that is tethered to something, and I get to go do other stuff? You know, if they don't want this kind of like spotlight life where I'm going to talk about them, if they are a private citizen, if they need to live, like, what if I fell in love with somebody who lived in like Denver? Like, what would I do? So I do think about stuff like that for sure.
You can have it all. We both can. I just don't think he is the guy. I don't think he like brings out your best self. I don't think, not that he, you know,
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's just a symptom of like you thinking that's a choice that needs to be made. And that's just like, that's a false agreement that your soul's trying to break. You know, like Rayna, you can have everything. You can have everything just the way you want it. You don't have to give something up to be lovable, you know, like that. And I feel like that's that's where he pops in to teach you that. And you're learning that. And yeah, like it's not that big of a deal to like be in a relationship with you and do things like a compromise.
I think that with this person, it would be the most sacrifice and compromise in the world. Is an extreme example of it. So that would never work out. But
this was insane. Like, I mean, I know that you know that you're psychic and you do this, and this is what your expertise.
Wow. Thank you.
But like, it was every single word about these people was like so spot on.
The most spot on. And I hope that people listened to all these things, even though it wasn't about them, and learned a lot of lessons from each of those 4 things. Because I think that like we really identified serious problems that you can have in every type of relationship, and hopefully like divulged into them, dove into them in a good way. Because what you just did was fucking crazy.
Aw, thanks, girls. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for being open to it. And thanks for like my goal is really for just what you said. I just want people to see themselves in these choices and be like, hey, wait a second. Like, where do I do that? Where do I compromise myself? So if anybody got that a little bit, like that makes me very happy.
Well, awesome. Well, we're coming up on like 2 hours. We can talk to you. I'm like, can I show you more pictures? Can I
anytime. I'm here.
Okay. Well,
I thought about trying to trying to trick you and like sending a photo of like my brother or something.
Oh, I would have been like, is he a friend? That would have given me like a weird vibe. I would have been like, is he like a friend or like I would have gotten like a weirdo vibe off that.
Yes. So plug all of your stuff. I mean, we know you have your podcast, like however people can connect with you, like lay it all out there. We didn't know that you do private readings. Like just go for it and tell our listeners where to connect with you.
All right. So I'm on Instagram at Mystic Michaela, and I have my podcast, Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. And I do have a website, mysticmichaela.com.
Do you do private one-on-one?
I do. I have a really long wait list right now.
I'm sure you do.
I do, but like, But I do like a lot of pop-up events. That's my new thing. Like, so like there's chances, and I do like, like little pop-up aura readings and things like that. So I try to, there's one of me, but I'm trying to like do different things like with teaching and group readings and things like that.
Well, this was absolutely incredible. And we'll have all of your stuff on our website and in the episode descriptions, of course, if people want to find you.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So guys, this week we are going to forego the little game segment just because the episode is a little bit long. We promise you next week it'll be back in full force. We have really funny segments with your submissions. We promise to have it back in full effect next week.
Yes, just got to let you know. Okay, well, guys, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. You know where to find us, girlsgottaeatpodcast.com, our beautiful website. Just click on live shows and you can grab tickets to our virtual stupid live show on September 2nd. You guys can also buy merch. You can follow us on Instagram at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast, Rayna.Greenberg on Instagram, Ash Hess on Instagram, on Twitter, we're girls_gotta eat, and youtube.com/girls gotta eat. Leave a review, use our gifts, tag us in your Instagram stories, all the things. And we'll see you next week.
Have a great week, guys.
Bye.